Good morning, everyone. So it's freezing cold here this morning, -2 outside, ice everywhere, and they're even predicting some sleet or snow or something down here. So going to be a cold day. Anyway, interesting looking at the leaderboard today. Mainly looking at 24-hour run, and Simon's got 135 nautical miles. Kirsten's managed 163, so took a bit out there, but Abelish hit the jackpot, 173 nautical miles. He's got a bit of wind, had it for a while. And Googs on 131, 126 on Jeremy, and 79 for Ian Herbert Jones, and 146 for Elliot, so he'll be happy with that. And Guy did 95, so he's got some things happening there, but we'll talk about his ETA in a minute, so we'll get rid of that for now. Interesting looking at what's happening. There's a couple of big blows happening back here, but it looks like the fleet might be coming into contact with its first big storm in a few days. So I'll just show you what's going on here. We've got where are we now? This is on the 12th. You can see this stuff starting to form up underneath the fleet, and when we go through to the 13th, starting to get a little bit bigger. This is quite a big system. And then when we come through to the 13th, I'll push this up now so you can see what's happening. Come on. You can see the no-go zone there, and then it starts to get pretty solid. I'll just toggle this through now. So there's quite a bit of breeze coming up over the lot here. You can see there's quite a bit there. I'm not sure who's going to be back there at the time, but there's some big winds there. We'll have a look at it on Windy in a minute and see what that looks like as well. But yeah, that's quite a big one. But the good news is it's a large system. Okay, so it's quite big, and it's a slow transition from the northwest, northwest here, and then it goes around to the west northwest, and then it slowly rolls around to the west, and then it starts to come up to the southwest. What that means is that the sea state, as it's changing, it's got a little bit of a time to get organised. If you remember the storms that we had trouble with back in 2018, they were little short systems about this big here, and you had sudden wind changes from screaming from the north to screaming from the south within 30 minutes, and that creates really dangerous seas, and that may have been part of the reason that some of the boats got into trouble. But at least what this will cause is huge seas, quite big, some of the biggest they've probably seen. I'd say, well, let's have a look. It's probably going to go, well over 6 meters, go into the 7s and 8s maybe. You see you're transitioning through what we're normally used to, this sort of purple into the dark reds. It's going into the whites here, and that's, if you look at the scale there, if you look at the scale here, that's getting into the 8s, 9s, and that means you're probably getting into 10s and, maybe even more. So this is going to be a big system when it comes through. It's still quite a way ahead. It's 5 days ahead, and anything can change between now and then. It can drop back to nothing, or it can intensify even more. But certainly there's something happening, and we'll be watching that very closely as we get closer to those dates. So for now, seeing we're talking about weather, I mentioned yesterday that we'd probably give Abelish a weather alert on the winds that he had coming through there. I then checked it on Windy, and it's not as intense as we thought. And if we come across here now, this is the actual same system. This is basically about where he is, and you can see forecast winds under 20, sort of 29, 30 knots, and we use as a trigger 35 knots. So we didn't give Abelish the weather warning. And when you get 30 knots, it's going to gust up to 40. So you can see here, this is now showing the gusts. Okay, so whereas it's going to be around 40, it's all in there, 38 bits and pieces. So it's heavy weather, but it's not what we call a major storm. So we haven't given the weather alert on that. Let's just have, while we're here, we'll come through to the 13th and see what sort of wind speeds, I think it was the 15th rather. There you go. So on Windy here on this model, that big wind that was showing, looking like a major storm, is showing very little. It's completely different. And just while we're looking at the Saturday, so I can ad lib a bit here, on the bottom of Windy, you've got the 4 different computer models that you can use. and we'll just see how it changes. So this was, remember we were saying on the 15th, yeah, it's hardly anything. So if we look at the GFS model, there it is there, completely different. Now this is where I was saying this ECMWF model is what I consider to be usually, the most accurate, but we look at them all when it's coming through. And you can see the huge contrast here. There you got 40 knots forecast. Some of this is going to be bigger, okay? And gusts, we go into wind gusts. You got 60 knots, 50, 60 knots in there, so it's quite big. And yet when we look at the gusts on this other model, it's completely different, 29 knots, blah blah blah. And then let's have a look at access. We'll go back to wind. It's not catching up as well here. This model's not going through. So again, there's contrast on the models, and then icon is pretty mild. So that just gives you an example of where it's a science and it's an art, and the science is coming from a bunch of floating buoys drifting in the ocean out here, and it's very hard to be super duper accurate. So even the stuff we're seeing on what we're seeing on the Yellowbit tracker, it might not be in this position. This transition area here from the northwest into the southwest may not actually be right there at this time. It could actually be over here. It might move a bit faster, or the models may have got it wrong. So it's a general indication, but it's not specific, and that's why I always refer back to windy when there's anything to do with heavy weather. Anyway, I'm pretty confident that if we look at the sea state there now for Ablish, yeah, this is getting into the 5s and 6s. So it's heavy weather for the Southern Ocean, but it's not a super duper major storm with tricky waves, touch wood. So I'm hoping that all is well there. Okay, so let's just see what's happening here. If we, I think you should be able to see all that. Simon doing 5.3 knots, happy with that. He's in a bit of a lull there at the moment, so he's doing okay with that. If we build this up now, you see Kirsten's just dropping off the edge of the world. She knows she's past the zone now, so she'll come down, probably into 46 or something to make the way across. She's got some weather coming, 7.7 knots. It's right behind her. She's rocketing down there, which is all pretty cool. As we mentioned before, Ablish 7.4 knots. Goog is doing 5.6, so that's pretty cool. We're here at the front, so I'm going to focus on this, and then we'll tidy up with the back of the fleet after. So let's just look at what the weather's doing in the next. You see that comes over really quick. So that's midnight tonight. So that whole system's gone across in hours, literally. So I'll just toggle it through, watching Kirsten there. You can see it's 1, 2. This is 3 o'clock this afternoon, 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's gone, turned into a southwest, so there's nothing there that's going to upset Ablish or Kirsten. Ablish should keep up. He's got light winds coming behind. This is coming into tomorrow. It's going to change very quickly. They're fast, small systems moving quite fast. So yeah, Kirsten wants to get down and to get away from this. She'll know it's coming up behind, and then Simon's going to get a kick, so he'll like that. That's some good solid breezes. He'll speed up. Kirsten should be down south far enough to get the breeze there, but Ablish, I'm just going backwards now. Ablish might slow down. I think what you'll see here is Kirsten will dip down here, hold the breeze, but Ablish might lose out in the next couple of days. Tomorrow, day after, he might slow down a bit, but then he's in a roll. That's not a problem, and Simon's going to keep moving for sure. So the next few days, no big surprises. Let's look at distances and so on to Hobart. Jean-Luc's just arrived in Hobart, so we'll see what we got here. So Simon's now 1,200 miles, so it's 10 days would make it the 20th. I still reckon he's going to be around about the 20th, because it gets funny just at the last minute. He's thinking he might be there the 19th now, but I'd say it's still probably about the 20th. Kirsten now, in real terms, 740, so she's gained a little bit, but pretty much, Kirsten's still got a big break there. Simon's got a big break. Ablish still 250 miles behind Kirsten, so he hasn't picked up much there. And Goog still 550. Goog's doing pretty well. He's holding his own, so he's still in touch. and all is looking fine there. So let's come back here, and we'll get rid of that, and we've now got Jeremy here. Looks like he's going to get a boost. 6.5 knots. That's pretty cool. He's sped up a little bit from his last 4 hours. The positions have just rolled over, by the way. They rolled over at 10 o'clock, so these are all quite fresh. And Ian Herbert Jones doing 6.2. He's happy with that. Elliot's got some light weather coming right next to him, but he's still managing 6.7 knots, so he'll be happy with that as well. There could be some currents there. Let's just have for these back guys. Let's have a look. Oh no, Elliot's got a head current. I'll build that up so you can actually see it here. Excuse me. Okay, where's Gug? Gug is across. Oh, jeepers, he's a long way across. Oh no, okay. So I've really blown it up hard. So here's Jeremy here. Nothing helping him. Gug's got a bit of a boost. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. So he's picked up there, and then coming across here, I've lost Elliot and the boys. Here we go. Ian's got just a following light current, and Elliot's cut across this, so that's all okay, and he's pretty much in the clear now. So we'll come back to the wind. We'll decrease that down there so we can see what's likely to happen to the back end here. So we've got Jeremy and Elliot here, Ian there, Jeremy there. At the bottom of this really big height, which is really nice. It's not working out too bad now, under the 40s. Here's roaring 40s there, but down in this area they've got a reasonable breeze. Oh, jeepers, sorry, that was meant to be pulled back. But we only looked at the current anyway, but it's still pretty much the same. So let's just come forward a day here. And everywhere you look at, the wind is increasing. The centre of that high has moved away. Southwesterlies, southerlies here, so they're moving. Jeremy's got a boost, so he's not going to be too perturbed about that. We'll come forward another day. Boom, boom. Yeah, same again. This is where Elliot's right on the edge there, but I think he'll be okay because he knows he'll probably come down just a bit. So I think 2 days out, they're all still sailing well. 3 days out. And Jeremy's got some stronger winds. He'll be over here then. I reckon both Ian and Elliot will keep moving. So that's pretty good. That's through to the 13th. So that's 3 days ahead. So come back to here. So that looks all right. And then Guy approaching Cape Town for ETAs again. I know there'll be a few people watching this. Remember, we'll change over tomorrow morning to 1 hourly for Guy. He's making now 3.1 knots. Geez, the barnacles really must be pushing him, because he should be doing like about 5 or 5.5 there. And the distance to go, as of a few minutes ago, 137 miles, okay, and he's making, so 137 miles, still looking like late tomorrow. He's making 3 knots. So that's only 75. That's nearly 2 days if he maintains this speed. So that puts him in on Monday morning. So let's just see how this pans out. Certainly the weather's not going to slow him down, but it may not help. If I toggle this through, you'll see that southeasterly is going to start getting stronger and stronger. So it won't slow him down, that's for sure. It may actually blow him north a bit, and he might have to, because as it gets stronger, instead of heading directly over, he's probably going to get pushed a little bit up here, and then it's harder to get back down again. So, but it's not too bad, but I think he will get pushed north a bit. So this is early hours of tomorrow morning, and it's still pretty solid there. It'll start to back off, but he certainly will be having a look closely tomorrow morning and then work out the ETAs. But if he's in tomorrow, I think it'll be very late. That's about it. He'll I think he's going to end up here a bit, and then he'll have to maybe come back a bit, but who knows. So it's looking more and more likely to be Monday morning, but we'll know better tomorrow. And for Arnaud, he's just about there, nearly up into St. Helena. Where is he? He's up here somewhere. Okay. Oh, it's good at back so I can see him. There he is. Not far to go. So very close, simple trade wind sailing, very pleasant. He'd be having a great time on board and contemplating what he does next. He's up to the Caribbean and hang out there for a while because it's too early to go north with the weather. We've still got potential for winter storms up here, so he'll probably hang out over there and have a good time, and then come back up to Les Sables d'Olonne later. Okay, I think we're just about done, and we'll see you tomorrow. It's Sunday. Ooh, have a good weekend. See you later.